Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we thank God for you. We thank God for Roku, Comcast, and Amazon Fire. We got one of our featured authors here. Lynn is here with us. He is the author of the amazing publication that we are so grateful to have on our broadcast network platform. Achieve lasting inner peace. If you stop by our platform, all you got to do is click on the tab that is simply titled Featured Authors. You'll see a copy of the publication I'm currently showing on the screen, Achieve Lasting Inner Peace. And of course, click on that cover and it will take you to the necessary location to find out more intimate information and details about the author as well as the publication. That being said, good afternoon, Lynn. How are you, sir?
I am doing great.
Ah, you know, I am doing great. I want to say this. That is the very first time ever I had a 4-word response. he he I had a I am doing great. Man, I have come on, Lynn, you're gonna have to loosen up here with me. I I mean, wait a minute, man. You cannot do this to me now. Uh,
Well, um, you just lead the show. I'm doing really well today.
Amen.
I am um, in the midst of you know refining. I'm in the midst of refining myself, and I'm
Mm.
in the midst of helping other people
Ah,
in this world that is full of change and difficulty right now. Lots of things going on, lots of change,
yeah.
and I am just doing really well. I
Okay.
don't have a whole lot, but when you get to those questions, I'll have some things to
Ah!
say.
Well, once again, part one of two. We're going to dive right in. I know time is of the essence. And of course, once again, we appreciate your presence here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, as well as our partner networks, Amazon and Roku. We thank God for them. Then, you know what? Before we do that, why don't we go ahead and give you an opportunity to simply step up and introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're from.
Well, my name is Lynn McClurg, and I'm just kind of an ordinary guy who loves God. And I we are from Michigan. I grew up in a small town in the lower peninsula of Michigan, and um, w- I absolutely life has been so challenging to us that the information that I have in my book has come about because of 17 years ago of some high stress, challenging uh, situations that occurred within my family. And so after we prayed and discovered this information to help us, and I thought I've got to put this in a book to help other people. And so
Mm.
that's essentially my heart, my passion. Now, this is the concepts in this book are biblical. So if you're not a Christian, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're still going to work with you and help you. If you are a Christian, then that's great too, because they're going to fit right in with your thinking already.
Yeah. Now, I'm showing this amazing picture of you and this beautiful young lady that I'm seeing on your side. Introduce her.
My wife, Patty, is a registered nurse, and I met her at a hospital because I have a medical degree from years ago. And a, she herself actually is an author,
Mm-hmm.
and she is a very good speaker, and she has become what they call a mind model method coach because of the content in this book. She got trained as a coach to help people with all kinds of stuck situations, traumatic situations, situations where they need help to think how to think differently, and they need help to be able to navigate and make life work in a
Wow.
reasonable way
Right. Right.
instead of always feeling depression
Hmm.
and hopelessness
Wow.
and despair and you know high emotions and not sleeping at night and health issues.
Hmm. Well,
So
ladies and
that's
gentlemen,
that's a
uh,
little bit on about my wife, who is a true answer to prayer. We've been married
amen.
44 years.
44 years. Man, I want to
Yep.
be like you when I grow up. I've
That's awesome.
been married to my wonderful wife for 20 years, and
Oh, congratulations. That's
yeah, well,
fantastic.
it is amazing because when we first were married, they said we wouldn't be married for 20 minutes, and
Yeah, you told me that.
yeah, now there's no we're celebrating 20 years, and I just want you to know that I'm still on my honeymoon. All right, I just want you to know that. All right.
That's
With
great.
that being said, we are grateful to have you here. We are honored. We are privileged. We are blessed. Thank God for you. And thank God for all of those amazing individuals that are literally tuned in on this afternoon to the GMAP Broadcast Network. And those that are chimed in via Roku and or Amazon Fire TV, even Comcast. We thank God for each and every one of you. My goodness, I don't even know where to begin. Hold on one second. Let me make sure we got, okay, they're set. All right, well, we got to dive right in because there is going to be a two-part series and we don't want time to be of the essence. And I know that we're going to get more specific on some of the questions that the viewers and listeners will have in part two of this conversation. But one of the questions that we received via one of our partner networks, Glenn, was first and foremost, let me make sure, because first and foremost, we want to cover some general knowledge, okay?
Yes.
What What was the most unexpected challenge? So you got to look at the book in general. What was the most unexpected challenge that you encountered while writing this book?
That it came down to how can I be not I'm authentic because I'm I what you hear, what you see is just me and there's no other way. But the biggest challenge was understanding other the challenges of other people in their own words, in their own world, and making my book as authentic me but relatable to them because my driving belief is that every single person matters. Every single person, and the reason is this is found in scripture because God made man and woman in his image. We are made in his image, and he's given us all talents and abilities. And there's so much value in each individual person, and I want to be able to reach each individual person with hope that they can change, that they can find peace, they can develop their skills
Mm-hmm.
through this book, they can learn what is personal growth.
Right, right. Wow. Now, I want you to be aware that that was one of the questions that were received from Mr. and
Great.
Mr. and Mrs. I can't pronounce their last name. I think it's McCullen,
Hmm.
out of Raleigh, North Carolina. That was one of the
Great.
questions, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. With I hope that answered your question, and of course, we thank God for you submitting. Don't forget, there will be a part two to this conversation 1 week from today. Hopefully, you'll get a re-airing of this broadcast once or twice during the week. And of course, we want you to continue to share and spread the word as we continue to move on. And of course, I am grateful. Dejanice Grant said, "Can you share a moment from your personal life that kind of, I guess you can say, inspired you to write this book?"
Oh, absolutely. There was a time because our stress was so the stress events we had resulted in a continuing health condition for my daughter where we were faced with unraveling what was going on because the medical doctors were not very helpful. And so we were left to be we were left to basically, okay, she's going to live in this condition, which was not, it was not working at all on any level, or we have to learn how to be resourceful and problem solve and look under every rock, so to speak. And so, but to do that, but in the middle of that, we were having emotions and frustrations with one another, and our and the stress around solving the problems, as well as communicating with one another, and not to mention financial stress, um, caused me to go into lots of prayer, and seeking how we could find help to uh, help us. And I wasn't even sure exactly what it was. Um, and but so what really created my desire for this book was I remember the moment when we met this man who was from Canada, who had been training people in Canada for many, many years on how to think,
Mm-hmm.
not what to think, but how to think when any situation happens, any disruption, any frustration, anything that causes you to be highly emotional or say something that's negative or say something to yourself that's judgmental or negative or self-talk.
Mm.
And so when we started this training, and the at some point in the training, I things began to click, and I was just, it was like, this is transforming
Right.
us. And it was like I can't, I couldn't then at that time say, I'm going to go and write a book,
Mm.
but it was like other people have to know about this. We were, so our stress started coming out because we knew when we were looking at problems, we asked questions
Right.
instead of reacting to the problem and being triggered by it. We simply, actually, what I practiced was I put in my book as a method I call the stop method.
Okay.
When something comes to you and triggers you or frustrates you, before you can say anything negative or anything, you just stop and you say to yourself, you literally, that you notice your self-talk as well. This whole thing is a process of training your brain, just like you can train your muscle, your biceps.
Right.
Think
Right.
of
Right.
how many people train themselves physically to perform in the Olympics or whatever. You can do the same thing with your brain. You can train it to be effective for you, or you can also develop a lot of bad habits and train it to be ineffective.
All right. All right. Well,
Right?
I want to make
So
sure that
that was the exact point where I said, "Wow, I really want other people to know about this."
I want to make sure that um, answered her question. Dejanice Grant out of the city of Zion, Illinois, and of course, we wanted to make sure we give you the appropriate answer. And of course, we thank God for that. And of course, also we have more questions on the way. And I once again want to thank God for Lynn. He's one of our featured authors over on the GMAP broadcast network. We're located at gmap1.com. That's GMAP, the number one.com. This is an opportunity for you to garner your questions, share your moment, your concerns, and just to let you know, we're going to stay on track. We want to get your questions asked. We want to get them answered, and we want to continue. So we want to make sure that we follow protocol. We do the best we can, and we want to share this information with as many people as possible in the very near future. Part one of two will be here once again on next Thursday, and of course it'll be the same time. And hopefully throughout the week you'll be able to share this program with many of your viewers, your friends, your followers, your family, and tell them tune in because we're going to hear from that man again. His name is Lynn. He's a featured author on the GMAP Broadcast Network. And of course, he has the amazing publication titled Achieve Lasting Inner Peace. There's a purpose behind it. Funny question, because Dejanise out of Zion, Illinois, her daughter also had a question for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and incorporate that into this part two. So it's another question. How did you choose? Now, I guess this is an important question too, Lynn. How did you choose the title of your book, and what, I guess, what significance does it have?
Well, the choosing of the title of my book was a process. Um, it it so we I went through research. I researched on Amazon and um, other self-help books that had to do with reducing stress, reducing anxiety and overwhelm, and burnout. I mean, you just fill in the blank: high emotions,
Mm-hmm.
negativity, unwellness. And so, I number one was I researched um, what books were out there,
Right,
and
right.
then number two, I researched keywords that people use when they're searching on Amazon to find a book to help them with their stress reduction, reducing anxiety, and they want more peace. They want more joy, and they want to get past the repetition of constantly either being triggered by something or just they're in a stuck place. A stuck place is we were in a stuck place for many years, and this stuck place is defined by you recognize you're in a place. uh you're maybe it's it um just you want to grow at work, and you keep trying to advance at work, and you've attempted to improve yourself and done things that hasn't worked. Or it could be you're in a place with a relationship with your husband or your wife, your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you just seem to be circling around talking about the same things, and you want to improve that. That's called a stuck place, where you just kind of keep revisiting the same things. And so there are a lot of people who experience self stress, as I define it, where they are talking to themselves and judging themselves and putting themselves down. That's called self stress. And so people are looking online, and I simply looked for the keywords that they were searching for. And in my research, I the key words that came up that people really wanted, the number one word was peace. They want peace, and they want it to last. And so there are a lot of books. My book is not like any of the books that are out there.
Right.
My
Right.
book does not give you a quick fix thing.
Mm.
I do have sections in my book, as I'm looking at my chapters, I do have some sections that are highly practical on how to reduce stress. I have a section on how uh, how to do a technical detox, a social media detox. There are practical things that you need to consider that are contributing to your stress
Right, right,
that you need to understand how that's working and then put some in practice, and your stress and your anxiety and your fear will will go down.
right, right,
So my title was really chosen through a process of researching and looking at what was out there and evaluating the market and looking to see if did somebody have something like mine. And I even looked at some of the books and read through some of them, and they had other approaches that were not mine, and not they didn't have anything of really of what I was offering. And what I also wanted to offer was something that, because it worked for us, it is absolutely something that will work for people. I would not write a book that I haven't actually gone through and experienced the benefit, and in my case, transformation. And I say my case, my wife and my daughter, the three of us, and then we adopted a daughter. The four of us, our lives have been transformed.
all
So
right. Well, I'm going to say
that
this,
kind of
and
something. So,
of
go
course,
ahead.
we thank God for you. Got to take a quick break, but we'll be back right after this with continuous, questions from our viewers and listeners. And of course, I already know because we've only asked 3 or 4 questions, and we're not even halfway there. And I know time is of the essence, but stay close, don't move. We'll be back right after this with more from author Lynn McClurg here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, as well as our partner networks, Amazon Fire TV, as well as the Roku Network and Comcast Cable. Stay close, don't move. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank God for each and every one of you. And of course, we appreciate you taking your time out to be here with us here on the GMAP Broadcast Network as well as our partner networks. And we thank God seriously for the presence of our featured author. He is a young man we are grateful that we were connected with. He has an amazing publication out. And of course, we want you to show your support. Achieve lasting inner peace. Very important publication. If you want to learn more, stop by our platform, and of course, make sure that you click on the tab that is simply titled Featured Authors. When you do so, it'll take you to the necessary location to find out more intimate information and details about the author as well as the publication. Lynn McClurg is here, and of course, we thank God for his presence. And we're going to move right along because it's important for us to try to get through some of these questions. And, I heard you speak about research. And it's ironic because we are now looking at, it looks like Cynthia and Charles out of South Carolina. I don't know. We had Raleigh, North Carolina. Out of South Carolina, their question is, what research did you conduct for this book? And did you uncover some unexpected information? That's their question. It's on you.
Yeah, the content from my book wasn't necessarily researched because the content from my book came from my wife and my daughter, going through the process of learning the information that's in my book. So it became very apparent. That's all the content. Now, I will add that some of the content of my book has to do with my personal life. I've been a personal growth person my whole life, and so I've had pieces of information already in place to put in my book.
Right.
But the research really was, I had elements of research within my book because I did do some research to find stress statistics. Oh my goodness, the stress statistics, overwhelm and problems from stress and were enormous. That was one area. Another area is an area that I researched where how many people actually are following a personal growth. They have interest in personal growth. Here's a question: do they even know what personal growth is?
Interesting.
And many people don't know what that is. They simply react to life. They get up in the morning, and then there's the phone, or they're texting, or there's one reaction after another. So, to summarize, I did fill in on some of the research that I did for the title, but the book itself came from our journey, and then some research around, such as I mentioned a moment ago, such as around personal growth, statistics on stress. I definitely pulled up some of that, and that's pretty much it. The rest of it is my story.
Right. Well, I am grateful to hear that, and of course, I hope and pray that answered the question. Out in South Carolina, Michelle and Harold Lloyd down in Arkansas, they had a question. It's very interesting because they're paying attention. Sending a shout out to them. They know my wife very dearly, and of course, we want to send our shout out to them. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for just being supportive, to your old son-in-laws, to y'all it might be a little small-time radio show, but to everybody else it might be a little big. I had to go get my glasses on because I got to be able to read this stuff. All right, going to continue, and of course, we thank God for each and every one of you tuning in today. We thank God for the questions that you're submitting And we especially want to thank those partner networks that are chiming in today, Amazon Fire, Roku Network, and of course Comcast Cable, as well as those here on the GMAP Broadcast Network. It's an opportunity for each and every one of us. It's a question and answer session, part 1 of 2, possibly 3. And it's going to be every Thursday right here in the weeks ahead. And of course, if you miss any portion of this, don't forget, during the week, Monday and I believe it's Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be airing this rebroadcast. So, moving right along, I cannot pronounce her last name, so I'm going to say Andy. I'm going to say, I can't pronounce her last name. So, Andy and Cynthia, God bless you, and thank you so much for submitting your question. And her question is, all right, sorry, I did not mention the fact that they're from the Dakotas. I don't know which Dakota, but I didn't get that in the email. South Dakota, North Dakota, one of the Dakotas. Were there any themes or messages that you consciously set out to explore when writing this book?
Yes, definitely. The book has very specific beginning of the book. I wanted people to know the definition of keywords. Oftentimes, we hear a word and we think we know what that word means.
Mm-hmm.
But in other words, how we behave, the meaning of words.
Right.
And so if we're fuzzy about, if we're unclear about language, words, how can we behave accurately? So one of the pieces that was very intentional was making, and there were keywords in there that, and I specifically laid it out that these words you want to remember, commit to memory, the definitions, because then you know how to apply them, and you know also clearly the purpose of them. So, yep, definitely very intentional keywords, very intentional with you can do this. You can break out of habits and patterns that are high stress. You can do this. We did it, and you can do it, and it's life-changing. Very intentional throughout the whole book.
You know, I appreciate that so much. And I'm looking at this next question as you're saying that. And it's a very serious question because, you know, we don't just look at this thing as being local or state-based. You know, we look at it a lot of different ways. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is much more than just being what we call a book of entertainment. It's a book that has some serious purpose behind it. Achieve lasting inner peace. You know, what does it mean? How do you do it? What's the steps to take? I mean, those are some questions that I'm sure is going to come up from me, if by nobody else. But thank God for answering the question for those individuals located in South Dakota. I found out it was South Dakota because I got a text here on my phone saying it's not North Dakota, Kevin, it's South. Okay, my bad. All right. Now, continuing right along, Lynn, we thank God for you, and we appreciate you taking time out here today to explain the content, to explain the purpose, to explain the foundation of it all. And this is a serious question, and I'm concerned about how you're going to answer it. How did you approach, or do you approach, world building while writing this book? Wait. There's a part 2. Particularly in genres like family. That was the part 2.
So, world building, you said?
Yeah, it says, how did or do you approach world building when writing this book?
I'm not totally sure I understand
Me either.
world building.
I mean,
Me.
is there a purpose that you feel? I guess I'm going to look at it like this, and I don't know the details. I'm looking at the question. That's why I said this is a very interesting question. How did or do you approach world building in while writing this book? I'm looking at, is there a purpose for your publication that will bring us closer together? That's my assumption. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. So this book, the concepts of this book, as I mentioned, are biblical. And so in scripture, biblical truths or concepts or principles work whether you are a believer in Jesus Christ
Mm-hmm.
or whether you are not.
Right.
And so, and that's okay. And if you're not a believer, that's okay. I wrote my book for everyone.
Right. Right.
But I also clearly mention in the book in different places who I am. I am came to Christ. My story is in the book because that's who I am. And authenticity, by the way, is very important for change for anyone, whether they're in
Mm-hmm.
the world system, or uh, not a Christian or a Christian. Authenticity
Mm.
with yourself
Right. Wow.
is very important in order for change to occur. If you're denying, if you're not aware and you're just not paying attention, then you're not going to have a very effective life
Right.
because things are going to continue to go on and they're not going to improve.
Moving right along, and of course, we thank God for Lynn. Lynn McClurg is here. One of our featured authors here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com. We want you to continue to show your love, care, concern, and support as we continue to move forward with this opportunity to speak with him about his current publication, Achieve Lasting Inner Peace. I know time is of the essence, so we're going to continue to move right along, and of course, we thank God for each and every one of you who are submitting. And I'm finding out as we speak, Lynn, that a lot of individuals are actually submitting questions as we speak. So, this is going to be an exciting moment and an exciting time. So once again, we want to continue to let you know that we're going to be putting this information out there to the eyes and ears of the people. We want them to know as well as you to show your support, tune in, and ask the questions if you have them. And I'm going to move right along because we thank God for the opportunity to be here. Mr. and Mrs. Buck out of the city of Louisiana. How do you balance? Because it looks like this young lady wants to consider writing her story or writing her book. How do you balance a writing career with other aspects in your life, such as work and or family?
Well, the best way to do that is, and I actually talk about this in my book, so you might want to pick up a copy of my book, is from my business background, when you have a lot of things going on,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a business where we it was basically real quick. I had a business where I had 30 some people I was managing, and we had a lot of projects.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I talk about this in my book, actually, in chapter 7. And so, the way you want to be able to manage your writing along with the other commitments you have when there's only so much time is you break those actions that you're going to do for your writing down into small pieces. I call them chunks. It's called chunking. When you chunk, so you don't, in other words, you don't look at your day and go, oh, my day is so full, I have no time to write, I can't write today.
Right.
What you
Right.
do is you say, no, I'm going to do this 10-minute piece. It's a chunk. And so you set out your whole week to do small chunks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you accomplish writing a book. It might take you a little longer, but the goal is to get it done.
Right.
And so then that take you, and
Okay.
then you'll be able to get it done.
Wow. Okay. Well, going to continue, Mr. and Mrs. Buck in Louisiana. I hope that answers your question. Moving right along, because I know time is of the essence, and we're going to be doing a follow-up very soon. What was the most challenging during this process? I mean, Did you see yourself facing a situation where you were stuck in submitting your information for the book? What was the most challenging for you while writing this book?
The most challenging was identifying a flow
Mm.
from chapter 1 to 2. It's a progression that resonated with the reader. And
Right.
so chapter 2 builds on chapter 1. And so that required a great amount of thought and deliberation. That was the biggest challenge.
Identifying a flow. You know, I've never heard it put that way, but I imagine that would be a pretty good challenge to face, and that's identifying a flow. Wow. Oh
It,
my
it,
goodness.
it,
Continuously,
it,
we are grateful for Lynn McClurg. He's here, one of our featured authors. And of course, we will be back next Thursday also with the part 2. And then possibly a part 3 on the following Thursday, and we thank God for that. Once again, we are moving right along. We have a couple of more questions for today. He is one of our featured authors, GMAP1.com. Featured authors, you'll see a copy of the publication I'm currently showing you on our screen. Achieve Lasting Inner Peace. Click on that cover. It will take you to the necessary location to find out more intimate information and details about the author. I told you that earlier, Lynn, that the young lady was considering being an author. She wants to pick up a copy of your publication to find out more intimate information about your specific publication. But this is a general question pertaining to her as an author. If you could offer one piece of advice to aspiring writers, what would it be?
it would be to be authentic.
Mm,
Now, my book is a self-help book, so if you're writing, fiction, my son is writing fiction. That's different. But if you're writing nonfiction like I am, and I'm in the self-help space, it's to be authentic, and to find something that really resonates deeply within you.
right. Wow.
That would be it.
That would be your advice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because when you find something that you're passionate about that resonates deep within you, you are going to be really interested in it, and you're
Mm-hmm.
going to pull. You're going to use your resources of your mind in ways that won't if you have something that's just mildly interesting to you.
Right. Question from Nicole Walls out of Illinois, also considering being an author, I'm assuming. She says, how do you approach things such as revisions and editing when you feel like you might have made a mistake? And uh, 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 how has your manuscript throughout the process, involve different avenues of editing? Because a lot of people want to do their writing, and yours being a self-help book, and of course we're going to focus more on the self-help scenario in this book. And of course we're also open to any questions that you may have about you becoming an author. How do you approach revisions and editing in the process of writing your manuscript and releasing your publication is the question.
Okay, well, I'll give you 3 points. The
Okay.
first point is when you write your book, you are the person responsible to make revisions to it in the early stages. So, point
Okay.
number one is you write a section, maybe chapter 1, and then and this is what I did. I didn't write the whole book and then go through it. I wrote chapter 1 because your mind is in that space, chapter
Ah,
1.
yeah.
It's in that information. Chapter 1's different from chapter 2. So you write chapter 1 and then you go through it multiple times to make sure that it flows, that it has the right alignment, that it's saying what you want it to say. Then you go to chapter 2 and repeat it.
Oh, okay.
Now,
I see.
after your whole book is done, then I recommend that you find someone who is an editor for $300 or $400
Mm-hmm.
it is a project. So it's a little bit of money, but it's worth it. And I found an editor, and she edited it and was able to keep my voice. So anyway, so find an editor. Um, then even after that's done, you own your book. You're responsible for it. So then you're going to read through it again to make sure that it has alignment, that it's saying what it's supposed to say, and
Mm.
you can pick out punctuation errors. There's also a program called Grammarly. I'll mention because I use that. That's a program that helped me with punctuation and grammar and stuff like
Mm.
that.
Okay. Okay.
It's called Grammarly, and it's a great program. And it's not what I use for my editor. I found an editor, but some people use that to just edit their books.
Ah.
But that's my approach to revisions and editing, and what I recommend.
Oh. Once again, we have Lynn here, and of course, he'll be back next week, right here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com, as well as our partner networks over at Roku and Amazon Fire TV, as well as our friends at Comcast. Achieve Lasting Inner Peace, the name of the publication. We want you guys to get more in detail because we'll be back next Thursday, right here, same time, with more questions taken from all of our viewers and listeners around the world. We thank God for the presence, and we're going to do this as often as we can to find out more about Lynn as an author, more about the publication process. Before we let you go today, I want to ask you this question because it's a very serious question that we received from one of our viewers. Don't have the name, but I do have the question. What is it that you hope readers will take away from this particular book after reading it? Let me say that again. What do you hope and readers will take away with them in your book after reading it? The floor is yours.
Great question. So the at the very beginning, I lay out what I hope that they will take away, and so at the very beginning, I give them a a very kind of roadmap. And so what I hope they take away is at the end of each, first, that they see that they can change. Change is possible. Change to make their life work better and those around them by reading through the chapters. And at the end of each chapter, I have questions that they have answered and then actions. So they can begin to change, because in order to change, we have to have new actions. We have to do new things. And so my purpose in writing this is that they read this and they see this and they go, "Wow, I can change. I've I've had struggles. I'm so stressed out. I'm so over anxious. I am emotionally triggered by everything, and I don't want that life. I can change, and I'm going to put into practice these these pieces in this book, and make my life and those around me and the world better."
I heard you say world, and that was a part of the question. You got to make the world better.
Well, hey, if one person changes
Uh huh.
and they improve, they lower their stress, they lower their anxiety, they lower their overwhelm, how do you
Yeah.
think their interactions are going to be with everybody they come in contact with?
Right. Right.
Are
Well,
they going to be better?
you know, I I
Yeah.
I think so.
Well,
I
they can't help it. The people around them are going to go, "Well, why? That person is enjoyable to be around. That
mm-hmm.
person is interesting. That person is
No.
adding, that person's pleasant.
Man, oh man, oh man. I am loving this. And once again, I thank God for each and every one of you. Thank God for the opportunity to just be here, chatting with one of our featured authors. We'll be back next week with more right here on the GMAP Broadcast Network, as well as our partner networks who has agreed to be sure to be here live with all of your questions and answers. This is only really the fourth or fifth time that we've even considered doing something like this, and it is amazing how it's working out, because as we continue, Lynn, we're getting more questions and more questions and more questions, and it's good because we want to learn more. And we want to learn about you as an author. We want to learn about the process. We want to learn about the publication, what it's entailed, the content, your recommendations or suggestions when people want to reach out and achieve lasting inner peace. We want to take time out to thank you so much. I'll be reaching out to you shortly because we do have a plan to re-air this for the next couple of days, I believe tomorrow and Monday or something like that. I'm going to go over the details with them. And then, of course, we're going to have you back on next Thursday. So I want to take time out right now to officially thank you for this process. We appreciate, and I mean sincerely appreciate, you being here with us today and taking time out to get into more detail, because I believe that this is going to be something that's going to boost. So once again, your book is available on Amazon. As a matter of fact, why don't you share that information? If someone wanted to go out and purchase your book today, what would be the process? How can it be purchased? And of course, we want to encourage them to also leave a review. I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to say, Lynn McClurg, before I let you go, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. The floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it would be an honor for you to purchase my book. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here on the show. And so just to purchase my book, which by the way, I have it at a reduced price of $9.99, just to really make it available.
Wait. Lynn, wait. You asked me a question, and I want you to ask that question to them before you go, before you close out. Something along the lines of, would you want to achieve everlasting life and inner peace for just, what was that question you asked me?
Oh, was it personal growth? Or?
Yeah, would you, oh man, I can't think of it.
I know what.
Okay.
Yep. So I can ask him that question.
Okay.
Sure. So you can get a copy of my book. It's only $9.99, and so my question that I have for everyone is, if you can find peace and calm in navigating stressful situations in life by learning a new way to handle those things and find peace and calm that's lasting for $9.99, would that be worth it to you? That is my question.
Wow. I love that. And I love you for it, because I believe this is something that's going to be very, very instrumental in the future. I thank God for you. I thank God for your lovely wife. I thank God for the divine connection. And I appreciate you being here with us today. And, of course, we're looking forward to what we have planned in the very near future. We're going to be back next week. And, of course, we're going to be re-airing this broadcast, I know, 2 times in the very near future, whether it be tomorrow or Monday. But I do know that we're going to be re-airing it on Monday and Wednesday, or Tuesday. No, Monday and Wednesday. And then we have you back live on Thursday of next week. And we appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in on today. We're looking forward to hearing more from one of our featured authors, Lynn McClurg, here on the GMAP Broadcast Network. Don't forget, if you want to submit your questions, you can submit them through your listening preference over at Roku Network. I'm sure they have an email to provide. Also, the Amazon Fire TV Network. If you're tuning in from the Comcast Cable Network, go ahead and submit your questions to them. and of course, they will make sure that they're submitted to us. And of course, we are asking you to go ahead and submit your questions to us here at the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP Broadcast Network, WKTS Radio. Also, we want to hear from you. Go to GMAP, the number one, at live.com. That's GMAP, the number one, at live.com. Submit your questions. We'll be more than happy to try our best to get to. We're not going to stop until we get as many of these questions as possible done. I want you guys to know that. We're just going to keep going and keep answering those questions without giving it away. We want you to show your support. We want you to purchase a copy of the publication, Achieve Lasting Inner Peace. We want you to understand why you're purchasing it. We want you to share the information with your followers, your family, your friends. We want you to share. And we want you to be sure to leave a review. Leave a review. It's going to be so important in the future. I believe in my heart that this is going to uplift the publication on its sales. It's going to uplift the publication in sharing the information with followers, family, and friends. Ladies and gentlemen, the holidays are coming. Make sure you give this book to someone as a gift, someone who you know wants to achieve lasting inner peace. God bless each and every one of you. We look forward to seeing you next time. God bless you, Lynn. Thank you so much for your time. I'll be calling you again shortly to let you know where we go from here. But until then, send my love out to your family. Have a fantabulous rest of your afternoon, and we'll look forward to talking with you again soon, okay? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure. We'll talk to you again soon. As a matter of fact, stay close. I'll call you back shortly. We'll set things up to make sure we'll have you back here next week. Send my love out to your family. And, of course, I look forward to talking with you again soon. Okay?
Sounds awesome.
Now you give me a 2-word answer. Now, boy, I tell you. I'll talk to you soon, Lynn. Ladies and gentlemen, stay close. We got more on the way right here on the number one station in the nation. And, of course, coming up next, we are grateful to present to some WKTS Radio out in Waukegan. And, of course, it is on the drive home. Up next, right here on the show.
You there, Kevin?
Yeah, hold up.